comes to like prophesying and stuff like that, I got some flack like, oh, you think you're a prophet, you never go to church, what do you know? Well, I read so many different aspects of the religion inside and out, and having dreams that had come true all of my life. Some do, some don't. And the closer I get to my own untimely return to heaven, shouldn't really say untimely, when my time comes and I can't wait, I'll be a lot stronger in the spirit than you think my body's strong. Whew. Spirits can have some tremendous power in different ways. But anyways, train of thought here. Prophets and shit, prophecies. I see all the paths, not only now, but from back, all the different choices, and it's easier to see like the big stuff, cultural choices. Nikola Tesla had a fantastic idea. It would have been revolutionary. They had put them towers up everywhere and developed more technology that ran off of that. We'd have developed a society that had free running electric cars and not destroyed the planet, maybe. Energy powered flyers that, so long as they were within range of the towers, they could fly. No fossil fuels required. But no, who wanted free energy and all these vehicles that operate on free energy, and the powers that be and the greedy and the money people went with Edison's idea of a meter on every house and power stations everywhere, damming everything up and tapping things here and there. This big national grid. That's what's horribly inefficient. It's so horribly inefficient, but they went with that for greed. Now that's how you know the difference between people that got angel blood and people that got devil's blood. Is devilish people's greedy, man. I'm not saying all the billionaires are devilish, but that's where we get the desire to consume and consume and consume and to strip the earth for resources, is because they put that in the part of humanity that was their slaves, man. That's how they got them motivated to work. They didn't really have to force them to work. They just motivated them to like gold and stuff, and they kept the populations low by putting them out there to war, and part of that tribute to the war was the gold, and what the gold actually went to, like the angels, the gods, the pyramid things. The pyramid thing's been around forever. Been around forever. Why do you think there's one on the back of a dollar bill? It's the stone pyramid, and then there's the flying pyramid with the eye above the stone pyramid. That flying pyramid with the eye, that's God, and that's what them flying pyramids are. And eventually people start seeing them as things wind down. What you really don't want to stare at them like, wow, you should kind of put your head down and like not look. And you'll know if they want you to look. You'll know if they want you to look. But if you're ever even think you're in the presence of the high angels, you don't even dare look at them. You'll probably have a fear of dread, and right away you'll want to be scared and drop down on your knees and maybe feel like you're going to die. And they'll make a calm come over you. And it's almost like you'll hear a voice, except it's not a physical movement of your eardrums, you just hear it. Telling you to rise up and it's okay to look, or something like that. That's in the book of Enoch. I'm not making that up. I'm not making any of this up. I'm not crazy. I'm a prophet. And I can see all the different paths in lives. And I'm prepared my friends for the absolute worst, and we're hoping that the worst never happens. But if you're prepared for the worst, you're never disappointed if it doesn't come. And if you're prepared for it, well, you're prepared for it. And hopefully people actually get interest in this stuff and prepare. I know a lot of these videos are an instant turn off. I get it, it's an instant turn off. Nobody wants to hear that the white people's children are the angels and we got a fate to destroy each other, but that's the reason why so many people's not getting anywhere near heaven. Understand? Christianity ain't a clean slate that all you gotta do is show up at the church every now and then. You automatically get in. They teach us that. They teach us that. But you still gotta actually know God. You gotta live a godly life. You gotta do as God commands and not have sins. How can God help you if you don't even know Him? You don't get to know God by begging Him for stuff and asking Him for this and that, and only calling to Him in your time of need. Like a child. That's not what God's here for. God expects us to praise Him day in, day out, no matter the state of our lives. I praise God every day just because I wake up and I'm alive in my condition. I praise God in my condition. I can still work and get around and do things. I'm still relatively strong. I need to be. Not done finished with these videos and the sermons, as Dylan calls them. Love Dylan. He's an excellent kid. I gave him my most highest blessings. I don't know if he can formulate a prayer the way I do, but I'm sure he'll figure it out if he needs to. He's touched now. That boy's holy. He alone and his family of all of America and the world is ready to accept the fact that it's about to hit the fan. It's about to hit the fan. It's about to hit the fan big time. It ain't gonna be pretty. It's not supposed to be pretty. It's not supposed to be it's the Armageddon and all the sinners burn up and incinerate and all the Christians just instantly float up and no. I just gotta laugh. I hate to do that, but people should actually read the Bible, not just their favorite parts of it. The picky, choosy people. That might work, but seeing as how I've already been dead for 8 hours at the Grand Tour of the Grand Heavens, and I've seen all the different ways and how the souls function and all that, because I was there. I seen the ghost and was explained to me how and why and what creates a ghost. So many people think they're going to be heaven, and all they really did was keep themselves from going to hell, but they don't necessarily go to heaven either, man. There's going to be a lot of fucking ghosts, man, billions of them, that thought they was going to heaven, and they're going to be confused, and they're going to be confused for like eternity. The ghost is going to go about their routine. They're going to go haunt the churches. Incomes don't want to take shelter in a church. That would be one of the most haunted places on earth. And that's going to turn a lot of people off. But nobody wants to face the truth in this world, and the truth does hurt. The truth does hurt. The truth fucking sucks. Not for me. I'm not afraid of my truth. I know since I was a young boy I'd die of cancer, so I ain't afraid of it. It's not that I want to die. I really wish I had the strength to stay around another 20 years so I can seriously help my friends, but I think I'll do better helping them as a ghost, as a spirit. Ghosts and spirits can do shit. Little miracles that affect people every day that they attribute to luck and stuff, and that's usually like ghosts of ancestors that loved you and shit like that step in your path and intercept you at the appropriate time in the appropriate place to keep you from falling to a calamity. That's not luck. that's because you're a good enough person that there's somebody that could have went to heaven, but they don't want to go to heaven because they want to like stay back and help you. And that's the kind of ghost I intend to be, the kind that can go to heaven anytime I want, but that would rather hang out for a little bit and keep an eye on things. Since I'm going to be a ghost, and a powerful one at that, I'll be able to hang out around my friends, and if any of the evil ghosts come around and try to bring malady their way, I'll be able to shoot that shit as I like, get out of here, cursed ones, godless, go. And even as a spirit, I have the power to do that shit. Even as a spirit, I would have the power to do that. God is a glorious and wondrous thing that most people don't have too much of a clue about. You think you do, but you don't. Jesus is a God. He's the Son of Man. The churches teach that, but churches don't exactly teach the truth. They interpret it. Apostolic faith means they interpret the Bible. I don't want somebody to interpret. I don't want somebody to read in the beginning and they said, well, what that means is when the first caveman, no, you don't interpret it. It said in the beginning. In the very beginning, there was nothing. And then the first stars formed. That's when God said, let there be light, and there were stars. And then the stars created matter, so God could start creating planets. Then once God created planets, not just this earth, but this is the creation of the entire universe. And he chose certain planets to make habitable. In our civilization, all we do is strip it bare and consume it until there's nothing left, and make plans for the most powerful and richest ones to hide out in safety in a moon crater. You think that flying pyramid's gonna allow that? They're just giving us a taste of it. Once the Chinese get so much space junk going up out there, knocking down the satellites and stuff, it'll be so hard to get our kind of technology up into orbit past that shit. Get a grip on reality. You guys are just playing with your toys just before the end, and that's all you're doing. The rich never get into heaven. No, the ones that defiled and destroyed the planet, all they get is eternal suffering. I didn't write the book. That's what it says. I'm not changing anything. I'm not altering it. I've read them all. And that's what the religion says. It's not my fault that the Jews, thousands of years ago, since the time of King Solomon is when the BS started happening, when the religion went. King Solomon wanted to marry a black woman, the Queen of Sheba, which is in Ethiopia, the head of the Nile, a famous, wondrous place at the time. And Solomon, contrary to what the Jews say, Solomon was never married. He was looking for a wife. He wanted a virtuous wife. And it's kind of true about the question and answers and him talking to her about various topics to make sure that she was like the one. And he chose her. And pretty much the rest of Judea, except for a few of the most loyalists to Solomon, because Solomon built the temple, and the technology in the temple and all that was his grand design. Solomon was an inventor like me. He had a grand design, and it powered the temple for the cooking, so they could cook day and night, day and night, day and night, and didn't need wood. They used batteries to make the plates hot. Big bronze altar, put batteries on the corner, eventually it'll get hot if you're just grounding them out. Makes sense to me. They found the batteries. I don't think they're used just for electroplating. They never found the altar because it's such a big piece of bronze. It was recycled in antiquity. Make a lot of weapons with it, or a statue. Maybe they destroyed it because they knew it had some kind of significant power, and they just melted it down because of that. It's feasible to me that they could have been using them batteries to cook day and night if they wanted to, and they didn't actually burn up the burnt offerings to a burnt crisp till it was nothing. The burning to them was cooking. That's the thing a lot of people don't get about the ancient writers, is they didn't use the same syntax as we do. When they said burn, that's what they meant for cook. You put it on the sear, it'd sear it, it'd melt the fat, it'd get it browned, crispy, get it hot. You burn it and it gets all the parasites out. That's cooking. But they didn't burn it up to nothing, because it says in the Esdras, the missing first chapter, that they removed. But after they did that, they ate it. They didn't waste it. They didn't waste it. They didn't start wasting the stuff until after they got into bondage. And the reason why they got into bondage is because their king presumed to know the will of God. He presumed just because he was using Solomon's thing, that Solomon, they rejected Solomon. He wanted to marry that black woman, and they were like, oh, hell no, we're not having, if you marry her, then your sons will be black, and then our king will be black. Hell no. It's basically, and that's what caused the civil war in Judea. They changed the script, but the Ethiopians got the truth, because that's where Solomon went, and he taught them everything. And what they know, they learned directly from Solomon himself. Not my fault if the whole entire white race wants to reject it. Most of the black races too. Even black churches, they don't want to hear it, because it's different from the Bible that they were told to believe. And I'm not saying the average Bible is bad. I mean, it's a Bible. It can get you to know God. But for a scholar like me, it's missing so much stuff, and without those missing pieces, it's kind of hard to build a puzzle. If you have a 500-piece puzzle, can you put it together if you're missing 79 pieces? 130 pieces? And that's kind of the way the Bible is. I'm not saying it's bad at all. I'm a godly man. I say I'm a prophet. I give sermons only to myself and this phone. There's a chance people will see it eventually and be like, man, this dude, he could have went far, but I didn't ever want to be rich anyways. I need to die humble, or I want to get into heaven. And one of the reasons why I ain't dying of this cancer is because I got to kind of say all this stuff. There's many different paths in life. And some of them will lead you to calamity, and some of them will lead you to everlasting glory. And some of them you're going to have no choice. Some of them it's going to be a long, hard path with no visible fork in the road. And each of us, in the end, we all die alone. So you only got to worry about yourself and your family and the ones you love the most. Praise Jesus, but pray to God. And try to do good things. That's how you get into heaven. Peace out.